this week's Cruise Chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Plenty of Sunshine Travel, and today I'm joined by Lindblad, and I'm super excited to meet with you. This is the first time that we're meeting, so we don't have a playlist to direct anybody back to look at our past episodes, but I'm excited to meet with you because I love expedition cruising, and I can't wait to learn more about your cruise line. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, and I hope we all learn together.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathleen. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for inviting us today to be a part of this. I do want to kind of set the feel for what an expedition is. So we at Lindblad Expeditions were the very first small ship expedition company in the world. So think about that. Before Lars Erik Lindblad, this way of exploring didn't exist. No one was doing this. And so he was kind of an explorer in his own right. And he started to realize a lot of the places that he was visiting were already suffering from habitat loss, wildlife degradation. And he was very passionate about wanting to take people to see these places, to educate them so that they would return as a voice for the preservation of those places, right? Because they didn't have a voice of their own and they were going to be gone before we realized what we'd lost.
Yes.
And so he took those very first guests to Antarctica in 1966. Doesn't really feel that long ago. But when you consider no one had been there unless they were an actual explorer or scientist, that was a really big event to take, citizen scientists, guests to Antarctica. And then the next year, he took the very first guests ever to the Galapagos, and he was so enamored by these remarkable islands that he paid the wages of the first two park wardens to ensure the national park was established in the Galapagos. So, it's very important to us that we protect the places we go to ensure that they're there for that next generation. And the whole idea of expedition, so people understand because that word expedition can be a little scary, right? People can go, I'm not sure if I'm fit enough.
Right.
Our expeditions are designed on safari. So Sven Lindblad was a photographer in Africa. And, his dad was an explorer, and they realized they didn't want to cruise. They didn't want to be static and sit on the ship. They wanted to utilize the tools you have on a safari. So a morning game drive, an afternoon game drive, coming back in the evening, sitting around the boma. Well, we can't have a fire pit in the middle of the ship, but we can certainly have our expedition team in the center of the meeting space, right? So it's more of a community and a conversation at the end of each evening. And so if you think of expedition cruising as safari, but at sea, that is how we started. And that's what started this whole rush to what we now see is a very big market, which is expedition cruising.
Wow. Yeah.
So a lot of people will notice the National Geographic name associated with us. Lindblad Expeditions actually owns and operates the ships. They're our teams. But we have the great honor and privilege of having an alliance with the National Geographic Society. So that means that we carry their knowledge. Often we have their scientists on board our ships. We support them and their research around the world. And so you'll see on the side of our ships, because of that alliance, we have named our ships in their honor, the National Geographic Orion, the National Geographic Seabird, etc. But it means that your guests travel with this amazing research and data and knowledge into the field. And we have super cool expedition leaders. I'm often asked, do you have their best expedition team? And I will always come back and say, we have the best expedition team for us. Our people are selected for how we explore, and that may be different to someone else's team. So I kind of have a bit of a giggle when everyone says they've got the best team. You have to have the best team that delivers on what you want your guests to have when they're in the field. And that is not only very smart, very, lots of letters behind their names, PhDs, lots of research and experience, but also the ability to just converse and make people feel that there is no such thing as a silly question, because not all of us have a PhD in ornithology, right? But we want to understand what's going on around us. So it's having these remarkable men and women that really want to share, and it may be their 100th trip to Antarctica, but they're still as giddy as they were the first time they went. And that's what makes the difference.
Oh, I love that.
A lot of the other things are that the tools we use, and these all came from Lars and Sven over the years, but having a hydrophone so we can hear whale song, having video microscopes so we can look at the plankton in the water and understand the health of that marine environment beneath us, having video ROVs, so remote operated vehicles that can go down and bring back amazing footage from beneath the ice or into the more warmer waters of the South Pacific, having kayaks and paddle boards and zodiacs and all of this great equipment that allows us that very intimate water level access. And all of that's included, right? It's an expedition by its name is all these things. You shouldn't be paying for a Zodiac safari or being out in the field with an expedition team leader or kayaking. It is all a part of the overall experience. And then add to that, we have our Lindblad National Geographic photography program, which means on all of our trips, you have a Lindblad certified photo instructor or a National Geographic photographer. And their whole reason for being there is to ensure that your guests get the chance to take the best photos of their life. And that can be on an SLR or on a cell phone, right? It's the ability for them to be able to get and capture the most remarkable images to take home with them.
Yes.
Now, we add to that, we've got this amazing underwater dive team. And these men and women, they're really remarkable. They dive in Antarctica, the Arctic. They also dive warmer places, but to be able to dive in Antarctica requires a lot of, dive ability.
Yes.
But for us, when you're on a ship, Kathleen, you're sitting on top of this remarkable world. And if you don't understand what's beneath you, you've missed 50% of the experience. So for us, that 360-degree view of the world has to include that marine biodiversity beneath us and the color and the brightness that they bring back and how they can share these remarkable videos each evening as we meet in our recaps is really quite remarkable and gives a much broader understanding of where our guests are exploring. We are a fully sustainable company. We are carbon neutral. We have no single-use plastics. We work closely with local communities to make sure the money goes back into those local communities. We support artisans, right? We support so that they can grow their business. We only have sustainable cuisine on our ships, making sure that we're only purchasing seafood that is sustainable, buying from local producers for, beers and wines and green produce. And so it's, once again, putting money into the local community, but sharing those flavors and bringing to life not only by how a place looks, but how it tastes and how it smells, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the other things you and I discussed was who travels with us, right? And it's a little different. People have this mindset because it's on a ship that it's kind of the same kind of folks who cruise.
Right.
We certainly have couples, lots of couples, but they're inquisitive. They understand they want to be off that ship more than they're on it. We are the conduit to get to them to these amazing places, but they want to be off and explore. We have dedicated solo cabins on all of our ships.
Oh, that's really a great thing to have, because so often you have to pay so much extra and you have, all this room for two and it's just you and you want to explore yourself, right?
Yeah, so no, dedicated solo cabins. We have a lot of solo guests. And one of the things which is really cool is expedition isn't like a cruise where there's couples that are off, they just want to be on their own. These are people that want to be part of the community. So solos are wrapped into that experience straight away. They're never off on their own. We have our team working to make sure dinner is, you sit with whom you want at what time you want. So they are brought into that community very, very quickly. We also have a share program on many of our ships. So if you're a single lady or a single gentleman and you want to share with another single of the same sex, we can match you up. But if you don't, you get to travel at the individual pricing and we don't increase it to the solo fare. So there's lots of ways as a solo guest to travel. We then have an amazing family program. We have so many multi-generational families that travel with us. And our Global Explorers, National Geographic Global Explorers program, this was put together with National Geographic Education. And so it is designed for those young guests to really grow their ability to explore, to understand, to look at the world around them and to learn about it. And so they get this great field notebook when they get on board. And this is applicable to every Galapagos, Alaska, Baja California, and Antarctica, the White Continent departure. So when clients book with you, just by age, they are registered. That's all they have to do. So, and there are special savings for children under 18 as well, but it is a brilliant, absolutely brilliant program. Where do we explore? Well, this is always, a lot of people will go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize all 7 continents.
Mhm.
We pretty much, where the ocean touches land, we are probably exploring there, but in a different way, right? We
Yeah.
don't want to go to docks where there's lots of electricity and they're selling tchotchkes. We want to go to the places that are off the beaten path, that you approach by zodiac, that a tiny little intimate ship can get into. And so just a few examples, like the Northwest Passage, Alaska. Our ships are teeny tiny. I'll show you those. Galapagos, and all the way down to Antarctica, the Kimberley at the top of Australia, Japan. We have a brilliant trip on the east coast of Africa, and then we do several rivers. So it is very much about, if you want to explore it, we'd probably go there. And we do it in a really cool group of ships. They're not cookie cutter. They're
Yes, that's great.
designed,
Mhm.
they're designed specifically for the places we go, right? So, you can't build a ship for Antarctica and then think, oh, well, we can just throw it over here. These ships are specifically designed and built. So the top left corner is the Endurance and the Resolution. There's two of these pointy-nosed ships.
Yeah.
They're really cool. So they're a PC5. That means they're able to live in the ice all year long.
Mhm.
And that pointy nose is actually a new technology. So instead of riding a wave like this, these ships actually cut through the waves. So it's a smoother, lot less shudder, much more
Yeah.
comfortable ride.
That's perfect for that kind of area where it is a bit more rougher waters. That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
So, and they're, as I said, PC5, but they're, of the 69 staterooms, 53 are balconies. These are
Mhm.
stunning ships, beautiful public spaces, huge spas, glass igloos on the back deck for overnight stays, chef's table. I mean, they're remarkable vessels for exploration. Top right corner is the Explorer, and she is the epic Antarctic iconic ship. This ship is 148 guests, and that's the biggest ship we have at
Mhm.
148 guests. But she is kind of this rugged, beautiful vessel that gets you into the Antarctic and around Europe and up into some of the regions of the Arctic. Then we have two gorgeous little ships in the center on the right. That's the Venture and the Quest. And these two are only 100 guests with 22 balconies, and these do Alaska, the Lewis and Clark, so the Columbia and Snake Rivers,
Mhm.
down to Baja, Panama and Costa Rica, Panama and Colombia. So
Mhm.
really cool west coast of the United States and down into Mexico. Then the bottom is the Orion. She's my
Mhm.
baby. I love this ship, 102 guests. She's more of like a private yacht feel, but she does the South Pacific. So Marquesas Islands, all the way across to the Kimberley at the top of Australia, New Zealand. And then the two other ships, the Islander 2 and the Endeavour 2, are located in Galapagos year round. And so you've either got an opportunity of 96 guests or 48 guests. So once again, Galapagos, it's all about intimate approach, groups of
Yes.
10 to 12.
Mhm.
But it gives you two different platforms to explore from in the Galapagos with us. And then, as I said, we do some rivers. And in these instances, these are lovely little ships that we charter
Mhm.
because we want them at specific times, but it would be a Lindblad departure. So the Oberoi fillet on the Nile. So this is most remarkable Egypt experience.
Yes.
The Lord of the Glens in the top right. So if you want anything Scottish, this is
Mhm.
the rivers, the locks, the Inner Hebrides. So think haggis and castles and bagpipes and
Oh, beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Just like an
stunning place.
immersion in the culture. Amazing. Yeah.
Center, that's the Delphine too.
Mhm.
That she does the Amazon. So this is only 28 guests. So think the upper headwaters, the Pakai Samiria Reserve, way up into the tributaries of the Amazon. At the bottom is the Jahan. She is a stunning all balcony suite on the Mekong. So think Vietnam and Cambodia. And
Mhm.
then you'll see those two tall master ships. And the one in the middle is actually the Sea Cloud. This is Marjorie Merriweather Post's original tall masted sailing vessel. And she does the Greek Isles, the Dalmatian coast, the Caribbean for us. So these ships actually require 16 young people to run up and drop all the sails. They are not automated. This is traditional sailing at its best. And then on the far left is the Sea Cloud 2, a more modern version of the Sea
Mhm.
Cloud. She's 88 guests as opposed to the 58, but she does Italy and then an Italy and a Croatia itinerary. So beautiful ways to explore the coast in these remarkable vessels. but as I said, it's all about, we'll get you there, but then it's being off that ship as much as possible in these remarkable places from Antarctica to the Arctic, from Alaska all the way through to places like New Zealand, Borobudur, the Asmat region, Indonesia, all the way through to Singapore, the Kimberley. It really is about remote wildlife experiences. I mean, Baja California is absolutely spectacular. The Amazon, it is about exploration at its best, getting out, being
and
a
those
part
pictures
of
are
it.
once in a lifetime pictures. I mean, look
Yeah.
at them. You're so close to the wildlife, and wow, amazing.
And that's what it's about, right? It's that intimacy of access, but being with a team so that when you're there, you can understand, look, these are marine iguanas in Galapagos. They're not always this color. They call them Christmas iguanas. There's a particular time of year when their coloration changes. So if that's what you want to see, that's why they've got you, because you can guide them to be in a place at the right time with the greatest opportunity, right, to see what they want to see. And for us, there really is, at the end of the day, there is absolutely no substitute for the experience we have as Lindblad Expeditions in the places that we go to. So that's kind of a quick introduction to who we are and where we go and what we do. But I'd love to answer any questions you have.
Oh, I think that was just fabulous. My goodness. Now, in terms of the ships, is there any particular like specialty restaurant? I imagine you would eat what's local in the area. Do you get your ingredients from the area as well?
We do. For most of our trips, where possible, we try to buy within about 150-mile radius of our ships. And once again, that ties back into local, but also putting money into local communities, supporting local growers, local farmers. Actually, we started the farm to ship program in Galapagos and helped to set up and support a lot of farmers in the region so that now we can buy a lot more produce on the islands. And that does a few things. It stops having to fly things in, more greenhouse gases, the chance of bringing in some kind of foreign parasite to the islands, which nobody wants, and also supporting local business and helping local growers. So it's a two-pronged approach. So we don't have specialty restaurants. What we do have is a main dining room on all of our ships where all of our guests come together. And it's about being that community and having that opportunity to try what's local, the local produce. Now, on the two new ships for Antarctica, the Endurance and Resolution, there is a secondary restaurant which has lighter fare and a chef's table that our guests get to participate in.
Oh, that's great. Wow. And I guess my last question is, I saw, some of the photographers with the incredible equipment. Does he teach you how to use your own equipment as well as offering up the pictures he takes?
Yeah, so certainly. So the photographers on board, they're there to support guests when they're traveling so that, if you're going to Antarctica, there are different settings your camera are going to need so that you get those crisp whites and black and white penguins. So they help you to set up your camera. They help you to understand the abilities of your cell phone. These little guys do a lot more than most of us realize. And so being able to utilize those cell phones to capture video, to capture images, to do landscapes that maybe you didn't realize the best way to take those is really important. And so that's their job. Their job is to help you come back having accomplished some of the best photography in your life.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't not share those pictures, right? On Instagram, and some of them, just beautiful. And I love how seals are so playful under the water too. Like those get like the best shots. So it's incredible.
Yeah. And look, in this day and age, these cell phones in a waterproof case are some of the best video tools for underwater. So you don't have to have expensive camera gear. As long as you've got good guidance and someone who can help you understand how to use them best, then that's the way to go.
Awesome. That's incredible. Wow. Well, thank you so much for putting that together. That was just fabulous. And if anybody has any questions at all about Lindblad and about the places they travel and to get on board, please reach out to me, info@plentyofsunshinetravel.com. Well, thank you again. And we'll see all of you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this week's Cruise Chat with Lindblad. It was really, really neat to see all of the great places that they go to. They go to far more locations than I expected that they would go to. So that's super cool that they go to all of those. And like Lesa said, it was really, really neat because not only like when I've toured to Alaska or gone into the Caribbean or Iceland or any of that. But it's really neat. You know, you look at the mountains, you look at the beautiful area, but there's a whole world underneath your cruise ship to explore. And I think that's the joy of the Lindblad, is making sure that you know about all those places and see how the marine life is doing and to explore all that. And I think that's super, super exciting for me. If you are interested in learning more about Lindblad or to get yourself on board, please reach out to me, info@pleniassunshinetravel.com, and I will absolutely get you there. It is just phenomenal. And next week, I'm going to be meeting with a different cruise line, and I love meeting with cruise lines. I love seeing what they have to offer, what they do. So next week, I'm meeting with Royal Caribbean. So, you know, it's just a diverse, different amounts that I meet with. I meet with pretty much all of the cruise lines. So I hope you're subscribed to my channel so that you can see all of those and learn with me. That's one of the reasons I love doing this. I love to be able to learn about cruise lines, learn about the world, learn about where they're traveling to. And this is just fabulous. So thank you for joining me. We will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Goodbye.